series brought to you by RealNex in conjunction with the National Association of Realtors. RealNex and NAR have joined forces to bring you a series of timely webinars on real estate and real estate technology and how the two can combine to drive efficiency and profitability to the industry. Today we're joined by Matthew Smith, National Head of Business Development for RealNex, to talk about prospecting and how real estate professionals can take advantage of database management systems to prospect and develop business more effectively. RealNex is a holistic suite of commercial real estate technology tools that helps brokers be more professional through their deal management and process management to fulfill transactions more effectively. From prospecting, marketing, financial analysis, and marketing, RealNex drives efficiency to the commercial real estate process life cycle. I'd now like to turn the podium over to Matthew Smith to talk about prospecting and how we can help real estate professionals do more business and earn more money in 2017. Matthew.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff Finn, for that introduction there. Today we're going to be talking about supercharging your database or your CRM. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. If for any reason you can't, you should be able to raise your hand. There's a little hand button in there. Also, this is going to be an interactive session here today, so I'm going to be going over some polls, some handouts, some questions. And if you have any questions for me, please don't hesitate. This is what we've been doing for a long period of time, and I'm excited to talk about supercharging your database or your CRM, however you want to call it, to win more business, like Jeff said, different ways to look at what a database is, and realizing that a database is your business and it's not part of your business. And we thought this was such a timely point because it's coming up to be the new year, and right now is the time that we start looking at what is 2017 going to bring us and how we're going to get there, and we want to make sure we prepare for it, and there's no better way to do it when a database is your business to prepare on that portion of it. And we want to bring some of the education and so forth to the community. So one, I'd like to kind of start out with a quick little poll. I wanted to know, what is the specialty that closely matches your industry? So is it investment sales? Is it leasing? Is it tenant rep, landlord rep, or are you a generalist? Is everybody a generalist now? As the market progresses, are you going to more more specialized areas of commercial real estate and so forth? And it just gives me some more insight on how we can focus our ongoing relationship with National Association of Realtors, and as well as put together webinars that are going to be specialized for each and every one of you on this call, because that's what it's all about. It's all about winning business here together and so forth. So I'm going to let the poll go up here for another 20 more seconds. Looks like we have generalists leading the board, investment sales and landlord rep tied. We don't see many leasing or tenant rep agents, but let's see here, 71% have voted. A little bit more votes coming in. 5 more seconds, and we're going to close this poll out, and we're going to go over some of the poll results here. Poll is closed. So now I'm going to share some of the poll results just so everybody understands. Kind of 20% investment sales, 20% landlord, and 60% generalist, and that's a great thing to see, that we're seeing a lot of generalists out there that specialize in multiple things. And a database is going to be important to your business, whether you're in any aspects of commercial real estate. So landlord, tenant rep, leasing, generalist, and so forth. And this presentation will help you with that. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. The next thing I wanted to kind of know is what is your current database? So I'm going to launch one more poll here, and I promise you I'm not going to be too poll heavy, but I want to know, what is your current database? Is it Outlook? Is it Excel? Is it a yellow card? Do you not have databases? Are you using RealNex? Or are you using something else? A lot of people we see use Excel and Outlook. Other people use back of the napkins, note cards, and so forth. There is no wrong answer. Just want to get a kind of idea of what everybody's using out there in the market in today. And it's okay to say none. I don't have a database. And that's what this is about, is understand why a database is important and so forth. So we're going to let that go on here for another 20 more seconds. I don't want to take up too much time with polls as we go through this. We're going to be closing this out in a quick second. So this is really interesting. I want to share some of this information here. I didn't let everybody put in the poll, so I do apologize. But you'll see in here 40% Excel, 40% other, and then 20% none. So sometimes that can mean people are using different stuff like maybe they're using Gmail or something to that effect. So those are some of the poll results there. So we're going to be talking about supercharging your database. Like Jeff said, I am the Vice President of Business Development for RealNext here. I go around the world and country to train brokers on how to use the system, more fluidly and process orientated. Today, this is going to be our timeline. Our timeline today is going to talk about an action plan. We all need an action plan to succeed. We're going to be talking about tracking. We want to make sure we're tracking the things that we're doing inside of our database there, and then mobility. And I wish I can kind of get away from the word database because it sounds so I don't know, it doesn't sound good. We need to come up with another word. So if anybody has a good word that sounds better than that, we can call this our commission management system. So we're going to talk about what an action plan is. Does anybody currently have an action plan? If you do, raise your hands. I'd like to know if you have an action plan for utilizing your database. Because with an action plan, you need a plan to succeed or you plan to fail. Looks like we have some people in here that have action plans, and that's awesome. If you don't, that's okay. For many years, I never had an action plan for my database, but I realized that if I want to set up for success, I needed to have an action plan, and I'll go over some of the action plans and so forth. Another tip to supercharging your database is figuring out how to segment and color code. I don't know if anybody's heard about the word analysis paralysis, but we have a tendency to do that, in our industry here when we're talking about databasing, because there's so many things we can do, especially everybody that's a generalist on here. You might be working a tenant rep assignment while leasing a deal and reporting on a sales, a sales deal you have out, maybe an escrow, or you just got a new listing for. So, you have a tendency to get analysis paralysis. So we're going to talk about some color coding events and segmenting your database, which will help you to do that. And we're also going to be talking about tracking key information, and that's going to help you get away from that analysis paralysis. One of the things that I like to say is stick it and pick it. And when I say that, I mean that when we're making our action plans, we need to stick to certain things, and we need to stay with it. So an action plan. Well, this is what a typical action plan for me looks like. So your 40% Excel users, you're going to love this. So this here is an example of the RealNext CRM transaction process and best practices. Now this was made for a generalistic office here in the United States. And what it does is it's all task orientated. And what I was able to do is come up with a relatively simple process and an action plan of certain things that I did. So, when I get a new listing, I want to go ahead and ensure the property is in my system. If your database isn't tracking properties, you might want to think about getting a system that does track properties. So that way we can ensure our listing information's in there, and we can start going ahead and tracking that activity. For the folks that have said, I don't have a database or Excel, if you're in the generalistic or investment sales or the landlord side and you need reporting, keep in mind there are systems out there that will help you with that reporting. So again, if it's a listing, ensure the property is in the system. If not, add it. Well, if you come over here and you click on the orange in the property, that's going to bring up another screen, and it will show you how to add that property. So, when you have an action plan of certain things you want to do, certain things you want to track, and then a way to utilize the system in a simplistic manner, having a database is going to get really supercharged, and it will bring excitement to you. And when you're excited to use it, you'll start seeing the benefits from having that. Here's another action plan as well. So if you're not super savvy in Excel, if you are like me, and I like to use Notepad, you can say, tenant rep, landlord rep. or when I get a new tenant rep assignment, this is what I do. When I get a new landlord rep assignment, this is what I do. And just type out, some of those things that you currently do, and then you can take pieces and portions of those, action plans and processes to work in there. So a couple of you said that you do have action plans, and I'm assuming on your action plans it will have, a day in the life of, and when I get in, I go to my dashboard, and my dashboard tells me my phone calls, and then this here for your action plan will talk about, it'll make things a lot easier for you when it comes to this. Again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to answer. I know we have Jeff and Sarah on here that can relay those questions, and you're welcome to interrupt me if someone has a question for this. I do have down in your corner, you'll see some handouts. One is going to be a handout of my process and best practice guide. It is in Excel. Feel free to download it. You can download that. It's 100% free. You can edit it. You can use it for yourself, whether you're using our system or anybody else's. It doesn't matter. But it's just an idea of how to, formulate that action plan. We also have some other kind of information sheets in there, and then another one on prospecting. So when I say action plans, we need to talk about action plans. We need to talk about items to track as well. Pick it and stick it. When you're out and you're using a database or Excel or what is everybody tracking? Are you just tracking contacts? Are you tracking investor criteria? Are you tracking certain items on there? Are you tracking buyers' needs? Are you tracking certain dates, lease expirations, or any of that information? One of the things as we start going into tracking items, we want to select, and I wouldn't say select more than 4 items. So pick them and stick them. So if you're a leasing agent, maybe you want to keep some property information about square footage or availability. Maybe you want to keep track of buyers' needs if you're investment sales for the minimum, maximum, or the product type. Maybe you want to keep track of number of trades. So how many trades has a certain property traded in the market. We've seen 50 multifamily trades in San Diego in the last 2 weeks. Maybe we want to keep track of some of that information. Or lease expirations. It's funny. When I talk to brokers, throughout the world, that a lot of people haven't been tracking lease expirations. So pick 4 items that you want to track in your specialty and start putting them in. So whether you're using Outlook, Excel, you're using our system, hopefully, just pick 4 things. Don't go overboard. This can be for properties. This can be for people. This can be for tenants or anything else. Just pick 4 things, stick with them, and then see how that starts working out for you. Building information, last sold, comparable, and key dates. Those are a couple other things that you might want to do, and key items to track here. So let's go over the next thing here. You can see here there's an example of different things to track. One here is going to be a timeline. So a timeline of events. If you don't have some kind of timeline of events, like our program has a 1-button timeline event. If you don't have something like that, I recommend writing it out, putting it in Excel, doing something like that, so we can then keep track of those items, whether it's a new lease, if it's a new property for sale, and so forth. That will keep track of those items that we need to stay on top of. But also, this is an example here as well of certain things we want to track. Now, I go a little in depth when mine's a little drilled down here. So if you wanted to see retail, it says strip and regional. I have industrial and office, medical and high-rise, flex, condo conversions, and so forth. If you just want to say, that Jeff Finn invests in multifamily and his criteria is 1 to 2 million, or 500,000 to $1 million, or anything above 6 cap, those are some of the things that you want to start putting in there. It's really neat when you start playing the matching game. We've all probably done it when we were kids. When you start matching your buyers and sellers, your tenants in space, we put together that action plan, and then we can track items, how much more productive we are, how much more our job is easier, and then how much more extra time that we have to win more business, to spend more time with our family, and do other things there as well. So as I run through these slides, again, if anybody has any questions, we want to make sure that we talk about these different ones. So Your action plan, you can write it out in a text file or you can write it out in Excel. Just make sure you have an action plan and stick with it. You don't want to redo it all the time. You might want to update here and there. And then keep track of key items, keep track of certain things that are going on your listings and so forth. And if anybody wants any examples of this stuff, you're welcome to email us anytime here at RealNext, and we can help you out with some of that stuff. One of the big things that I wanted to talk about here, and I'm trying to save the most of this, is mobility. So how many people in here think mobility is just for them? Raise your hand. Now maybe this slide is kind of throwing it away here, but mobility is not just for you. Is everybody in here mobile when they're accessing their information? If you're mobile and your database is mobile, raise your hand for me. So it doesn't look like too many people have gone mobile. And there's some reasons why people don't go mobile. Well, maybe I'm in the office all the time. Maybe I'm just not into having mobility. Maybe I don't have a smartphone. Usually we find out, though, once you realize that mobility is not just for you, it's for them. And when I mean for them, it's for your client, right? So one of the things that you can do with mobility is you can make a big impact. So to make a big impact, having this data mobile for you in a consumable fashion is great, because not only can you access it out in the field, but you can also show it to your client. If anybody's sat down with one of their clients before, going out to lunch with their clients, I'm sure you have. It's really neat when you're able to pull out a tablet, whether it's an iPad or anything. I'm not biased. I don't have an iPad. But you can access your database information there. And we can look up, Craig or Barry or Jen or Christine or Wendy or anybody else in here, and I'm able to sit down in front of my client and talk to them about their tenant needs of what they're looking for. 5,000 square feet of retail office space, or a retail space or office space, or 50,000 square feet of industrial. I can put some of that key information and put a note, all while I'm out there right in front of that client. And it's really impactful to have that. So think about mobile as making a big impact on your client. And it's not just for you to access in the field, but it's also, more importantly, I think, it's to make a big impact with your client, that you're that type of broker that, you can sit next to your client. I can sit next to Travis here, and I can ask him, what was the last purchase you made, and what is your criteria for investing? And have you thought about investing in other areas of the market? So making a big impact. Also, you can update records on the fly. So if you're walking, maybe you're walking through the mall to grab some lunch, and you're a tenant rep, and you want to go ahead and you want to update some of the tenant information, or you see a new tenant. Mobility will allow you to do that, especially with our new mobile app that's coming out. Will allow you to categorize property information all on the fly, dictate information, and so forth, and I'll show you some of that. But it allows you to update records on the fly. So when you're out in the field and you get a phone call and the client says, hey, he wants to go on a tour, or she says something about new lease information, you're able to update those records out there anytime, anywhere, any place. There's nothing more frustrating than writing it on the back of a card and then handing that card to a client and forgetting what you had. And that happened to me yesterday. I was out in a meeting yesterday and had a client hand me their card, and when they handed me the card, they go, "Oh, let me check," because they had stuff written on the back of the card and needed to give me a different card. So, having this to be able to, dictate some notes and stuff when you're out there in the field, to have it brought back, so when you're out prospecting, it makes things just that much easier for you. Also, think about doing live tours and listing presentations. Now we can do that on our mobility. So, next time you're with a client, say, hey, I was toying around with the idea of, going more mobile, on this tenant rep tour. Would it be all right if we did it digitally? How would that impact your client? Do you want to take pictures out in the field of tenant improvements or signage or rack space or any of that stuff out there in the field? Or utilize your mobile for listing presentations. I know some of you are using Excel and so forth, but imagine the impact that can happen when you sit in front of a client and you're talking about their building, and you can say the reason why you do business with Kaufman Incorporated is because here, and hand them your tablet or your phone, here's the 150 investors that meet the criteria of your building. Here's my listing presentation, completely digital, and let's walk through it together and sit side by side. So think about mobility, about making that big impact, updating records on the fly, live property tours, and listing presentations even on the mobile side. You know, we used to use PowerPoint back in the day to do our listing presentations, and now we can use other tools that you have, and if you want to look at any of them, you can always go to realnext.com and take a look at some of those, or just Google, you know, live listing presentations and see what else is out there for you. But it's neat to see the impact in the eyes of somebody when you say, you know, we're going to be going and we're going to be doing live tours, we're going to be doing a listing presentation, and you do it all digitally, and you go through a pro forma, or you go through a lease versus buy, or you go through you know, different office buildings or build outs, all from your mobile device, right, when you're touring the space or the place with your client, and you're able to adjust information and do what-if scenarios. You know, if we added 800 square feet on here, how much would that change our net effective rent, and so forth. So it's neat to have all that stuff available to you, and it's all moving in live, so you know, it's interactive with you and your client, and now you're leasing space with your client, you're selling properties with your client, you're doing stuff with your client and not for your client, and it makes it such a more, you know, such a better way to do business. So with that, let's go around and show some of the mobile side of things. And what am I talking about? How can I be interactive with mobility? We can canvas, prospect, and research out in the field. All your data anywhere, anytime, any place. And here's an example screenshot. Here's an example screenshot of how you can win additional business being mobile. So what I have here is I have a screenshot of our mobile portion that's available on your tablets. And this is a listing here. This is connected to one of our deal rooms. So it's a virtual secure deal room that we can share documents with and so forth. And I'm able to then take this information. I can hand it to Jen or Christine or Travis or Wendy or anybody else that I'm going on a listing presentation for. And I can say, here's the last property that I sold. Here's the leads that came through. You can click the lead button right here. Here's the secure deal room we keep track of everybody in. Here's all the participants that signed up, and here's their phone number and information that I'm able to contact them. So think about that next time you go out on a listing presentation, how awesome it would be to hand your client that tablet and say, here's all my investors, here's my last listing, here's my last lease, here's my last tenant rep assignment, how quick I was able to find space and shorten that sales cycle, or that lease cycle. You know, because it's going to be the ability to canvas and prospect and do research and all that stuff all out in the field all while you're there. And the market's getting more competitive. And I was on the call with a really good client of mine. If you ever see him at SAOR, he wears a very big cowboy hat. Everybody knows who he is. But he was talking in his area, and he was going up against some of the biggest firms out there, and he's winning business over them because of the technology that he has. He's not technologically savvy. You know, we have a saying here at RealNext, we are the technology behind the deal. And he's using that to win business over, you know, these large corporations out there because they think he's asleep at the wheel, and he's not. He's showing, you know, this stuff on the mobile. He's able to do prospecting and research and so forth all out in the field and mobile. So here is a sneak peek of another mobile app here. If you can't just get your mobile information on your desktop, you know, you want to make sure that you're able to get it on your phone. Things you can do out there when you supercharge your database is, again, creating histories and events. So one of the things that I tell people that, you know, when you first get into a database, if you want to make it more streamlined and not get overwhelming, is you can go ahead and keep track of your contracts, find a database that syncs with Outlook or syncs with Gmail like ours does, and synchronize your contacts and just start making histories. Just start making histories and follow-ups. You know, met with Jen, you know, she's not interested right now. Met with Christine, she said maybe in 6 months. Schedule a follow-up. That's all you need to start doing to get in to start supercharging that database and getting things out there. It's not a race to fill your database. And again, you can showcase your investors and tenants and so forth. Maybe you're out on a landlord assignment, and you want to say, here are all the tenants that would fit, your building. I'm going to be calling these as soon as we sign that agreement here for me to represent your building. Or here's all the investors that meet the criteria, and you can show them, and you can even hand them your tablet and let them click on each one of them, and they can see that investor criteria there. So it's neat to be able to have that interactivity level with your client. Or maybe you want to showcase, if you're working the buy side, maybe you want to showcase the properties that are inside of your system. So maybe you want to say, I know that you're looking to lease space, or you're looking to buy property, you're working the buy side of things, or you're working a lease deal. Maybe you want to show your client as you sit down at that meeting after your lunch, you want to hand them your iPad and let them look through some of your inventory. Some of the inventory that you've researched. You're able to take pictures in the field because now you're mobile, they're synchronized into your tablet and so forth. And now we can go over and we can talk about different property criteria that they might like. Maybe they're into mixed use or industrial, or then we're looking at leasing or buying and they're not sure. Now you can start putting some notes and histories on those properties as well. When you're looking for supercharging your database, if you are not using one and you're looking for one, make sure it has some things like direct integration in with Outlook, no CCing or VCing, something that just does automatic email synchronization, do something that automatically imports or has an importer from an Excel file or CSV, so you can start bringing in comp information or property inventory, or they have a service that they offer to help you out with some of that stuff, and that'll help supercharge your database, for 2017 and for ongoing. I used to own another business before I came to RealNext, and my database was how they valued my company. So if I had X amount of clients or retention and so forth, my company was worth X amount of dollars. And when I hear that people aren't using one or don't have one, to even start one and to start showing some of the deals you've completed, that's just enhancing the valuation of your business. So here's another way to access your information on mobile. And again, it's not always for you, it's for them. So it's got to be easy to use, and you got to be able to access all your data from your phone. So if you can only access it from a tablet, you can't access it from your phone, you might want to think about doing something different. I was in a meeting yesterday with a client, and when I was able to come right in here using our mobile application, and I went ahead and I added a new contact. I dictated their first name and last name. I dictated any other information that I wanted, and then I took a picture of them. And they're live in my database with a picture of them, so I know exactly what they look like when we last met and so forth. And it makes it that much more. It makes it that much more for me to work in that database. Oh, I remember I spoke with Jerry, and then I met Mike, and then I met Matt, and I have these pictures of the properties and people and so forth. And having that mobile allowed me to take those pictures, and I didn't have to do anything extra. So it was allowed me to do that. So with that, I'd like to kind of wrap it up and maybe do a couple polls and get to some other questions and so forth here. One thing that I want to do in my polls is I wanted to kind of figure out what is everybody in here. So I'm going to launch a poll, and it's going to say, how many years in commercial real estate have you been? Are you less than a year to 2 years, 3 to 4 years, 4 to 5 years, or 5 or more? So if everybody can kind of vote on those polls, and I'd like to see, what audience we're dealing with. Awesome, great. So we have 5 or more. So we have seniors in here. We have 1 to 2. So we have people that are, been in business a little bit more longer now, and we have 0 to 1. So we have new brokers in here getting into the industry. So that's great to see. It's really neat to see that we have brand new people on the call here with us today, as well as people that have been in the industry for 5 or more years. So we have seniors and juniors and all the likes here. We're going to leave this poll open for another 10 more seconds. During these 10 seconds, if you want, think about any questions. You're welcome to ask me any questions about anything. I'll tell you the weather, what the weather's like here, or maybe
one of the questions coming in. Can you show us? It sounds like you said you can actually conduct your tour on an app. Is that right? Is there an application to get away from the printed tour book, the inflexibility of that, and have it real time online or in an app?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And let me pull this up here real quick, and I'm just going to log into my RealNext, and you can log in if you have RealNext. You can always just log right into here with Gmail or LinkedIn. I like to use my email. It's just a habit of mine to keep it in there. So I'm going to log in here, and exactly what you're saying is, yeah, you have the ability to do your complete tour books. Ours is made for the tenant rep side of things, but a lot of people are using it for the buyer rep side. So there's no, you don't have to use it. So here's an example right here of what it looks like on the iPad. It works for the Android as well. So you can use that. And here's a tour. Here's your properties. They're mapped out automatically for you with geocodes. You can drill down into the properties. You can take pictures. Pictures are really important. Taking pictures of your clients out in the field. My client yesterday felt like $1,000,000 because I said, I need to get a picture of you. And the look on their face was like, wow, I'm a superstar. It's such a good feeling. Photos, notes, and ratings. So they can add additional notes, and then they can rate those spaces. So this can be used for touring spaces for lease, but it can also be used for touring properties for sale. So if you're working the buy side, think about doing your next buy side deal or tenant rep deal, in a system like ours, and it's completely editable, and it adds a new way to market things.
And then you're saying on the communication with so you're getting real-time ratings on the property as the tenants are coming through touring space. They're able to evaluate space. You're getting feedback from them, seeing what they've taken pictures of, what they're interested in, and what they're thinking about the space.
Yeah, and it's great because it's funny because we go and we tour one space and we're like, oh, that's the best space in the world, and then we go and tour 4 more and we actually find out that Desert Inn office is the one we thought we liked, but we actually rated Town Square Center better. And if you're out with multiple people touring, you can have a group tour score, and then you can take a picture of any signage or maybe tenant improvements, and that will help you as a broker negotiate the lease even better to save them more money. And then when you do, our system will allow you to keep track of those proposals as well, so then you can show your client, how many proposals you did and how much money you saved them by those pictures and those tour notes and so forth. But yeah, I mean, it's all interactive, and now you're round tabling with your client. It's such a fun experience.
And then you're saying on the mobility, it's not just about you, but it's about them. And I think I heard you say on the landlord side, if representing a landlord, it's actually alerting them to inquiries coming into spaces, or it's giving them feedback in real time on the transactions.
Yeah, so and that goes back to the mobile side as well. I mean, I can access all my building inventory on here. I can access square footage. So if Jen was looking for 5,000 square feet or higher, I can pull up my floor plans all on my mobile device. I can put the information in, and then once I put that information in, it goes back into my system right here, why I'm still out in the field, and then it shoots out a marketing activity report on a weekly basis to my client. So I don't have to do anything. It's all automated. And you can use that to present to your client and say, this is what I can offer you as a broker before you do before you get the landlord assignment, before you become the landlord rep. Tell them that's what you're going to do, because I tell you, I'd say 90% of brokers out there, or maybe 80%, aren't doing market activity reports, and yours is automated.
That's fantastic. And tell me just more about the Outlook integration. How does that work? What type of data is coming across? How does that get consolidated?
Another great question. So I can pull up a portion here. So we have a direct integration with Outlook. The direct integration with Outlook can synchronize all your Outlook contacts, the companies that they're associated to, and any of your events, as well as your email correspondence. So all your sent and received emails and those attachments can be synchronized. And I say that with such enthusiasm because there's times that someone might send you an LOI signed and you might not get it. And Antonio says, hey, did you get my LOI signed? And you say, yeah, it's right here. Here's the email. And pull it up. And then you can pull that attachment up. Whether you're at home, at Starbucks, or you're in your office, you'll be able to pull that email up that Antonio did with that LOI signed. So I'm not
having to consolidate information in Outlook itself. It's actually feeding right into the database.
Yeah, you would not search back inside of Outlook. You would just go ahead and search for that contact, and all that history and information would be right in there, including the attachments. These are great questions.
That's awesome. I guess a couple more questions just on matching. You talked about the profiling of investors, and
Yeah.
so I get a new listing in, I'm able to just instantly access and get a data sort of a email list, or is it a merge, or how do I access all those investors, and how can I outreach to them?
Yeah, so there's multiple ways you can outreach to them. One is look, as we get this information, now this is for demo purposes, so this is a little overboard. Pick 3 or 4 things, pick 2 things, pick 1 thing. But if I wanted to find all my office investors, I can right-click and say office investors or industrial or retail, and I can come up with a list of those. I can then send them, a letter. I can do a letter with our mail merge system. You can also come over here, and if you're using our system, you can do an email market campaign, put them into a group, email them out there, and let them know that you have a new availability on the market. You have X amount of space released, or you have a property for sale, and once a month you're allowed to hit up our list as well. So not only can you hit your list, you can hit our list too. So kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But yeah, matching buyers and sellers, tenants, and space is great. Quick little side note on that is I had a client that I was training about a year ago, and we went ahead and we searched for lease expiration, and it just so happened it popped up, and he goes, I gotta go. He had to go and call because the tenant, I guess, was in process of lease negotiations with the landlord already. Got on the phone, called me back a couple of days later, and said he got the commission. So interesting story about things like that.
Fantastic. Looks like one final question. Someone not familiar with deal rooms. What's the concept, and how do you enhance your prospecting and sales process using a deal room?
Yeah, so deal rooms are secure deal rooms. Some people call them war rooms and so forth. What it allows us to do is it allows us to get rid of Dropbox, Google Drive, and all those other file sharing things, keep those for the family. This allows us to have someone access one of our registration links here. We can upload any of our deal docs. So we have 7 security levels. We're all HTML5. You can put your offering memorandum into basic. Whenever someone signs up, they sign off on a CA, which is a confidentiality agreement automatically. You can upload your own CA. You can even Google for CAs and find a template on there. You put your file in there. Maybe you just want to put a flyer in there. Well, once those clients sign up in there, that information then comes over to your CRM system or deal management system over here, and you're able to then start tracking everybody that logged in. Maybe they logged in, but they never downloaded the offering or the flyer or so forth. Well, you can come in here and see Athena logged in twice, but she never did anything. Well, now I can make a phone call to Athena to see if she wants to me to email it to her and so forth. It's amazing how many times I get offerings that are emailed to me, and I ask for more details, and I never get a response because my emails are going to their spam or whatever it's going to, or their junk, or they just don't see it. With this, you don't have to worry about losing those leads and those prospects and so forth, and it helps you really win deals.
That's got to save you a lot of time, not going back and forth with documents, and also not having to sort through Outlook to find documents. Everything's hosted and organized in a consistent way.
It works when I'm sleeping. It works when I'm on vacation with my family. It works when I'm not in the office. It's working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for me. It's great.
Matt, that's fantastic. Looks like we are out of questions and just running up against the clock. So clearly technology is changing the way commercial real estate business is done, and your approach to supercharging your database to win more business is fantastic food for the audience to build their business in 2017, and look forward to great success in the future. Matt, your contact information is up. Fantastic. If anyone wants to reach out for more details, please do. If you're interested in RealNex in greater detail, we have webinars regularly Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Feel free to sign up for in-depth look at how our technology can assist you in your business and process, and wish everyone a great day, happy holidays, and a wonderful 2017. Thank you, Matt. Thank you all for joining.
Thanks, Jeff. Have a good week. Bye-bye.